Good morning, Suprabhat, Namaskar, Vadakkam, Sasriyakal, Kem Cho, etc., etc. So, I believe, students, you are studying very hard to achieve the goal of your life to become a chartered accountant as soon as possible. So, I am C. Ankit Sharma, your income tax faculty for the session, and today we will be discussing the provision of salary. In the last session, we have discussed the meaning of salary, the basic salary, arrear of salary, certain allowances we have gone through, and also we have discussed one compensation that was pension. I believe you must have tried the illustration, you must have revised the provision. So today we will be discussing further some more compensation like gratuity, leave encashment, provident fund provision, retrenchment compensation, voluntarily retirement compensation, etc. Okay. So things would be little complicated because we have already gone through certain provisions and now the provisions will be some more provision would be added into this salary topic. So you can feel or you might feel that these are topics you have to remember at once. And of course, as I have told you, salary is a gigantic topic and it is not difficult for any particular section or provision. But the problem is when you have to learn all the provisions, that could be a problem. So I've also told you that how can you do that? With the help of revision. If you're doing continuous revision, I believe that you will remember each and every provision. So before starting the class, okay, good morning, Vishakha, good morning, Mehak. Okay, before starting the class, as usual, I would like to discuss some provision, what we have discussed in the last session. And these provision, I would like to discuss with you, or I would like to listen from you technically. I would like to know the basic salary meaning, advanced salary meaning, and arrear of salary meaning. So somebody will tell me the meaning of basic salary, advanced salary, arrear of salary in short. Then HRA exemption, there were 3 points in which we have to go through and find out the lowest value for the purpose of HRA exemption. And the third is transport allowance exemption. Transport allowance exemption, which is available under both the regime. That is the third point I want to listen from all of you to see that whether you have completed your revision, etc. So who is going to tell me, first of all, the meaning of basic salary, advanced salary, and arrear of salary in short? Anyone is here? Vishakha raised her hand, so of course, Vishakha, please go ahead.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
So, basic salary is the amount employer pays to his employee in the terms of his employment for like his uh, work done under employer. Next is advance salary. Advance salary is the amount employee takes from employer for the period to which his employment is not done. मतलब basically जो काम उसने नहीं करा उसके लिए पहले से वो लेना
आप हिंदी
सैलरी.
में भी एक्सप्लेन कर सकते हो, नो इश्यू. अगर आपको हिंदी में कंफर्टेबल है, यू कैन गो विद हिंदी, नो प्रॉब्लम.
Arrears of salary is the increase in salary with retrospective effect.
करेक्ट, वेरी गुड. सो बेसिक सैलरी इज सैलरी जो ड्यू हो जाती है. मतलब आपने इसके लिए काम कर दिया, दैट मीन्स यू हैव दैट हैज बीन अराइज और एक्रू और ड्यू.
Yes,
तो अगर
yes.
कोई भी सैलरी ड्यू हो जाती है, भले ही आपको मिले ना मिले, दैट इज कॉल्ड बेसिक सैलरी.
Basic salary.
एडवांस सैलरी जो पैसा मिल गया ऐसे काम का जो हमने नहीं किया,
Receive
that is
but
called
not due.
advance salary. And the very good word you have actually explained in area of salary, the word you need to be remember all the time is retrospective fact. Very good. So if you learn this word retrospective fact, it explains everything automatically. The salary जो इंक्रीमेंट की वजह से हमें मिली है, that increment is effective from certain back date, we call it a retrospective fact. That is called area of salary. Very good,
Yes.
Vishaka. The next is HRA exemption. Mac, you want to tell about the HRA exemption?
Yes, Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
So, in HRA calculation, there is a three condition. First is HRA received, then rent paid, and rent paid from deduct 10% of the salary for the relevant period, and 50% and 40%. But 50% for the metro cities like Delhi, Kolkata, Mumbai, and Chennai, and 40% for the other cities. And whichever from these three situation, whichever is lower, that exempted, and for tax HRA, that is a receipt minus exempted.
Perfect. Very good. First class. Okay.
Yes.
Now the third is transport allowance. So anyone wants to tell about the transport allowance? Vishakha wants to tell. Yes, Vishakha.
So transport allowance is the allowance given to employees for commuting of office to employees or employees to office. Oh sorry, employees to मतलब उनके रेजिडेंस से ऑफिस जाने के लिए या आने जाने
Correct.
के लिए अमाउंट होता है एग्जाम जो मिला है अमाउंट रिसीव फ्रॉम एम्प्लॉय और 3200 पर मंथ विच एवर इज लोअर.
Very good. Perfect. The balance is going to be taxed. बिल्कुल सही बताया. Well done, students. So that was the topics which we have, what we have gone through in the last session. Now, of course, before starting the class, today's thought for the day. And it is all about you students because it actually explains about your struggle. And it says, tough times never last. In your life, there would be problem always there. If you are going through problems this time for completing your course, when you will be a chartered accountant, there would be new problem in your life. And of course, you must have been some more problem when you are not even going through this course. So problem will never going to end, but tough people do. But if you are a tough person, if you want to go through that, so you could handle all the problems. So this is a tough time to become a chartered accountant. There could be situations, problems in your life. But if you are enough to crack all these problems, if you are enough to struggle with all these problems, you will come actually to the goal of your life to become the chartered accountant. So just believe in this thing that tough time will never end. But if you are a tough person, you will go through each and everything in your life and will achieve whatever you want to achieve in your life. Okay. So let's go through with the provision of today's class. And in the last class, we have discussed the first compensation, that was pension. That could be uncommuted, that could be commuted pension also. We have discussed the provision of taxability of pension. Now, the second is gratuity. First of all, you should understand what is the meaning of gratuity in general sense. So generally, you must have noticed that if any servant is working at your house, like a cook or a housekeeper or a driver, etc., so we pay them salary for the work they do every month. And you must have noticed that if any worker from your house is retired due to her or his age, so at the time of retirement from your house, your mother or your parents must have given something else except his salary. Maybe some gifts, maybe some utensils, maybe some extra amount of money, which is above than his or her salary. So this is a kind of a price, the kind of a recognition we are going to pay him or her for the loyalty he works with us. So that extra payment is a kind of a reward we generally pay to our employees at the time of retirement when they leave due to age, etc. So we are going to pay them for the purpose of the loyalty, what they have shown us during the tenure. Suppose some cook has been retired from your house after working for 20 or 25 years. So you might have seen that your mother must have given him or her some extra amount at a time of retirement or some maybe non-monetary things. So that is a kind of a thing we are saying to them, thank you. So that's a kind of thing we call them, we call it gratuity. So that is voluntarily. You want to pay or you not. But under structure, under those organizations in which Payment of Gratuity Act, there's a Payment of Gratuity Act 1972 in our country. So if you are working in an organization in which this act is applicable, then your employer have to pay you a certain amount of gratuity at the time of retirement to say you thank you in a monetary terms. Or if you are working in a government department, you will get it. But if there is an organization in which no Payment of Gratuity Act is applicable, in that case, the employer will decide to pay voluntarily. Again, as I have told you earlier also, students, that we are no concern about that somebody is paying gratuity or not. Under income tax, we have to see only one thing. We have to compute only one thing. We have to calculate only one thing, that if the gratuity has been received, or if any amount has been received, whether pension, gratuity, etc., what is going to be the taxable amount and what is going to be exempted. So I have just explained you the meaning of gratuity, but for the purpose of examination, for the purpose of our subject, there would be gratuity. Received must have been given in the question, and you need to calculate the taxable or exempted amount out of it. You can see the picture also explain everything. If you are going to pay extra something at a time of retirement to your employee, so that is a kind of a thing which is called gratuity. The meaning also have been written over here. Gratuity is a voluntary payment made by employer in appreciation of services rendered by the employee. Nowadays, gratuity has become a normal payment applicable to all employees. In fact, Payment of Gratuity Act. So this is the act which tells about the gratuity concept in our country. Is a statutory recognition of the concept of gratuity. Almost all employers enter into an agreement with employees to pay gratuity. Again, this is none of our business. This is none of our business that which employer is going to pay gratuity or not. We just need to calculate if the gratuity amount is in the question, how much is going to be taxed or exempted. So gratuity can be paid during service, after service. But again, any compensation has been paid during service, that is going to be fully taxable. Fully taxable, okay? While any gratuity paid after service, like in termination, retirement, or death, could be exempted up to a certain limit under section 10(10). So there are three cases of gratuity taxability. In case of government employee, in case of those employee on which Payment of Gratuity Act applicable, and in case of those employee on which Payment of Gratuity Act not applicable. You can see if received during service, that is going to be fully taxable for all kind of employees. It does not matter you are a government or other. If it is received during service, that is going to be taxed for all kind of employees. Now we have to see how gratuity calculation needs to be done. As we have explained in case of pension, now the second compensation is gratuity. So in case of gratuity, there would be three circumstances. Case A, if you are a government employee. If you are receiving it during service, it's taxable for all. We are discussing the cases when gratuity is going to be received after service, on termination, retirement, or death, etc. So if you are a government employee, in that situation, 100% exempt. That's a good news. Whatever gratuity you will receive, that is going to be exempted fully. Now, case number B, that is for those employees on which Payment of Gratuity Act is applicable. So if you have retired from an organization on which Payment of Gratuity Act has been applicable, that would be given in the question. Payment of Gratuity Act 1972 apply. So that would be given in question, that Mr. A have been retired from organization XYZ And on that organization, payment of Gratuity Act has been applicable. So in that situation, we have to calculate our exempted gratuity and the balance would be taxable. So there would be three amounts we have to find out from the question. First is gratuity receipt. That would be given in the question. Like 10 lakh, 15 lakh, 11 lakh, whatever it is, whatever amount gratuity received, that would be given in the question. Second is a fixed limit, that is 20 lakh rupees. So this is easy because that would be given in the question. That is also easy because 20 lakh is the fixed limit. Now the third amount you need to calculate. The third is a formula that says 15/26, 15 by 26 into monthly salary into year of service. Everything would be given in the question. You just need to remember this formula that says 15/26 into monthly salary into year of service. Now, what is the meaning of monthly salary and year of service? Monthly salary says that from the components of salary, we have seen the format of salary. There was basic salary, advanced salary, area of salary, bonus, commission, multiple allowances was there, etc., etc. So out of these all things, we have to just consider the basic salary, the total of basic salary and dearness allowance. Dearness allowance is called Mehngai Bhatta. In Hindi, we call it Mehngai Bhatta. So the total of these two, and I have told you dearness allowance is of two types, as per terms of employment. In case of HRA, we have seen, and one was not as per terms of employment. Not as per retirement benefit, etc. Not as per term and as per term. So for the purpose of calculation over here, we need to take both DA, whether it's as per terms of employment or not as per terms of employment. For example, if as per terms of employment, it has been given in question 2,000 per month, and it's not terms of employment, it is 1,000 per month. And suppose basic salary is 40,000 per month. So we will take 43,000 over here. And this would be the just preceding the month of retirement. So suppose somebody has been retired in July, then we have to take the monthly salary of June. If somebody has retired in December, then we have to take basic salary and DA of November. Okay. And year of service means the number of years you have worked in an organization. That would be year of service. Suppose if it is 20 years and 5 months, we will take 20 years over here. But if it is 6 months or more job fraction, suppose it's 20 years and 7 months, then we will take it as 21 years. If it is 20 years and 6 months, still we will take it as a 20 year. So if it is more than 6 months, then we will consider it as rounded off to 21 years. So that is point number B, which says you have to calculate these three things. And if after calculation, the lowest of these three will be your exempted gratuity. If you'll see, the first and second point is very easy. Gratuity receipt would be in question and 20 lakh is a fixed limit. The third is a formula, which I've explained to you, 15/26 into monthly salary into year of service. The detail of monthly salary, year of service, etc. The definition has been given in the notes. Let's go through with this. Case number A. In case of central government member or civil services, etc., the whole amount will be exempted. Case number B. In case of employee who are covered by payment of Gratuity Act, received 20 lakh, the formula is there. Now, what is the meaning of monthly salary and year of service has been discussed in detail. Note number 1. period of service will be rounded to 1 year in excess of 6 months job fraction. Monthly salary means basic salary last drawn and includes all kind of dearness allowance. You can see all kind of dearness allowance. So whether as per terms of retirement or not, we have to consider full dearness allowance over here. Clear? Now the C case. In case of employee, those are not covered under payment of Gratuity Act. That would be given in the question. The C case. Employees do not cover under payment of Gratuity Act 1972. So those employee on this act does not applicable. Those organizations not covered by payment of Gratuity Act 1972, these case fall under C category. And a very important information for you, if the question is silent. If question says Mr. A received gratuity of so and so amount and it has not been explained in the question whether the organization is covered under payment of Gratuity Act or not, then you have to always consider case number C. So the question is silent, you have to solve it assuming that payment of Gratuity Act not applicable. Understood? Chalo. The first amount exactly same, gratuity received. The second is of course 20 lakh, again same. You can see under both cases, the point number 1 and 2 exactly same. The change is in third formula. Earlier it was 15/26. Now it is 1/2 into. Earlier it was monthly salary. Now it is average monthly salary. So average needs to be taken. Earlier it was year of service. Now it's completed year of service. So you can see in the formula, everything has been slightly changed. 15/26 become 1/2. Monthly salary becomes average monthly salary. And year of service become completed year of service. Now let me explain you these two terms. There's a good news as the term suggests, completed year of service. So that means any month fraction would be ignored. Like in all these three examples, if that is a case of C case, it will remain only 20 years. Whether it's 20 years, 5 months, 20 years, 7 months, 20 years, 6 months, months need to be ignored because the word says completed year of service. So even if it's 20 years and 11 months, how much we will take over here? 20 years. So that is easy. The new thing is average monthly salary. As in case of monthly salary of case B, we consider basic salary and dearness allowance. But in case of average monthly salary, we need to consider these three components. First is basic salary, then dearness allowance, but only as per terms of retirement benefits. Okay. And percentage commission on turnover. So can you tell me where we have gone through with the same definition of salary in the salary provision in our first session? So can you tell me where these three components also we have considered in case of salary provision in the first session? Vishakha is absolutely right. Vishakha, HRA, house rent allowance. High five from Wi-Fi, Vishakha. Very well done. So in case of HRA, we have discussed these three components would be the part of salary, for which we need to take the 10% or 40 and 50% of salary. And if any one of you remember, in case of that HRA provision, it has been written salary as per gratuity C case. Remember, it has been written over there that salary need to be considered on gratuity C case. And I've told you why it has been gratuity C case, because over here and in case of gratuity C case, same salary components need to be taken. Salary as per gratuity C case. Understood? So that's why the salary, but in case of HRA, it's not average monthly salary. It is only the salary for that duration for which you have received the HRA. So components are same, but it was not average monthly salary. But in case of gratuity, we have to consider average monthly salary. Now, what is the meaning of average monthly salary? Of course, average means we need to take certain average of past few months salary of these three components. So components are basic salary, DA as per terms, and percentage commission on turnover. But average meaning, so the average meaning is you have to consider these three things or these three component of last 10 months. An aggregate of these 10 months, these three components divided by 10 will become your average monthly salary. It's just mathematics. Income tax is not going to do anything with it. So it says that your basic salary, DA term, and percentage commission. Suppose you have retired in December 2025. So employee retired in December 2025. Now in the preceding 10 months, November, October, September, August, July, June, May, April, March, Feb. Over this. Correct. These 10 months. In each of these months, we have to take basic salary, DA term, percentage commission on sale. Then again for second month, then again for third, then fourth. So the aggregate of these 10 months, these three components divided by 10 would become AMS. A good news, generally in question, AMS has been given. But if it is not given, again, they will give you this information that basic salary was 40,000 per month, DA was term 5,000 per month, percentage commission suppose 2,000 per month. So that is 47,000. Percentage based commission we calculated, suppose it comes 2,000 rupees per month. So 47,000 is November. And there is no change in last 10 months salary, no change. So 47, 47, 47, aggregate would be 4,70,000 divided by 10. Again, it would come AMS 47,000. So it's just mathematics. Generally, if there is no change in factor of basic salary, DA or percentage commission on sale, then 1 month or 10 months average would come same. If there is any change in any factor, then this calculation needs to be done. But in maximum cases, AMS would be given. If it is not given, then there would be no change in last 10 months salary. So in that situation, the monthly or AMS would come the same. Somebody raise her hand. Who wants to ask anything? Please raise your hand again. Nobody wants to ask anything? I guess someone raised her hand. Okay, no problem. You can send your query in chat box or you can raise your hand again. Not an issue. So now case number C is very important because you can see there are AMS definition is slightly technical in comparison to the case number B. So now we have see that case number C is in case of employee not covered or if question is silent. Gratuity receipt, 20 lakh rupees, 1/2, average monthly salary, complete year of service, fraction would be ignored. Salary means basic, DA if as per employment term, percentage commission on turnover. If AMS means average salary drawn by employee for 10 months immediately preceding the month in which he retired. So you have to calculate the aggregate of last 10 months salary and then divided it by 10. So that will be AMS. In my opinion, there would be AMS information in the question, or if it is not, then there would not be any change in last 10 months salary. So whatever is your last month salary would automatically become your average monthly salary. Clear? Now this note number 3 and 2 is very important, and these 3 and 4th number note is applicable for both cases. Case number B as well as case number C. Note number 3 says if any individual getting gratuity from two employer at same time. Generally, this kind of question would not be in the examination. But if it happens that somebody is working in two organizations and that person received gratuity in the same year from both the organization, then separate calculation will be made, but the limit of 20 lakh rupees will be jointly remain rupees 20 lakh. How it needs to be done, let me show you. These are rare condition, rare kind of question, but what it wants to explain you, it says, suppose there is Mr. A who is working in XYZ Limited and also working in ABC Limited. He retired from these both organizations in 2025-26, same financial year he retired. The gratuity received was, suppose 15 lakh from this organization, and from this organization, suppose 16 lakh rupees. Now, suppose this organization is covered under 1972 Act and this organization is not covered under 1972 Act. So the second point is the fixed limit. So if any employee retired from two organizations in the same year, then ignore that second limit, directly calculate the formula value. So as 1972 Act, then you need to apply the formula of 15/26. So you have to calculate the gratuity as per this formula provision. Other information would be in question. And if 1972 Act not applicable, then you need to calculate as per formula taking 1/2 into AMS. So we are assuming that as per the formula, this value comes 11 lakh rupees, and in this case, it comes 13 lakh. We are just assuming it, okay? So if any employee receiving gratuity from both organizations in the same year, then ignore 20 lakh rupees limit separately. Do not apply 20 lakh rupees limit separately. Now what do we need to do? This 20 lakh rupees limit needs to be applicable jointly. So how it's need to be applicable? Take out the lowest of these two, 11 and 13. So total is 24. Now compare it with the joint limit of 20 lakhs. So now the lowest is going to be exempted, that is 20 lakhs. So this needs to be done like this, okay? So it's a rare example, rare question generally, but you have to remember, you just need to do one thing. Just forget about 20 lakh rupees limit. Just forget about it. Calculate your normal exemption without considering 20 lakh rupees limit, and at the end you need to compare this 20 lakh rupees limit with the lowest value you consider. Okay. Again, note number 4 also. Why we are doing this? As for note number 3, why we are not taking 20 lakh rupees limit separately? Because government provides you 20 lakh rupees fixed limit. So if you consider 20 lakh in first case and 20 lakh in second employer case, so technically you are providing 40 lakh rupees fixed limit. Understood? But this limit, because it is fixed by government, it cannot be more than 20 lakh. So if we consider this limit separately, so technically you are providing 40 lakh rupees limit. That's why this provision of note number 3 says, firstly calculate each and everything and then compare the amount with this 20 lakh rupees limit. So that would be your answer. Whatever is the lowest would be your answer. Clear? Again, note number 4 is also trying to explain this concept again in one different situation. The concept is same. The concept is same because limit of 20 lakh cannot exceed. How? Now consider another example. Suppose Mr. B is working in an organization and he retired from that organization in 2010. So when he retired from that organization, the gratuity exemption after applying those three things, those three provision as per B or C, the lowest was suppose 8 lakh. So this is exempted gratuity, suppose in case of Mr. B in 2010. Now Mr. B joins another organization and retired from that organization in 2020. Now, when we calculate those 3 points for the purpose of exemption, the second point 20 lakh needs to be reduced by 8 lakh rupees exemption, what he has claimed in earlier year. So this fixed limit would be now 12 lakh. So this limit would not be 20 lakh. We will compare it with 12 lakh. Why? Because the aggregate exemption of 20 lakh is for your lifetime. Out of this 20 lakh fixed exemption, you have claimed 8 lakh over here. So when you will receive gratuity again, now your fixed limit would be considered as 12 lakh. Suppose now out of these three, 12 lakh is the minimum value, which is exempted. Now in 2026, he again retired from another organization. So now when we will consider this limit of second point, now how much limit do I need to consider in second point? How much limit has been left over here? Anjum is asking, sir 20 lakh exempt हो गए तो 4 लाख पर टैक्स देना होगा. अंजुम, टैक्स कितने पे देना होगा? उसका यूनिवर्सल रूल है रिसीव्ड माइनस एग्जेम्प्ट. सो 20 लाख इस एग्जांपल में एग्जेम्प्ट हुए तो आपको जो रिसीव्ड हुई है 15 एंड 16 लाख टोटल रिसीव हुई है 31 लाख. सो आउट ऑफ दैट 31 लाख 20 लाख एग्जेम्प्ट 11 लाख पे टैक्स देना होगा. ओके, so this is exempted, and for the purpose of taxability the rule is received minus exempt. This is universal rule, universal. Okay, in full income tax, whenever there is calculation of taxable value, the formula is received minus exempt. Okay, so Sushmita is saying 0, Anjum is saying okay, Nikunj is saying nil, Vishaka is saying nil. Very good, because full 20 lakh limit has been utilized in this example. Second one, 8 lakh you have taken it this time and 12 lakh you have exempted this time. So when you will try to take this 20 lakh limit, it would be 8 lakh earlier and 12 lakh this year. So there would be 0. So technically 0 would be exempt. In future, there would be no exemption. Full gratuity is going to be taxed. Aditya, not exempt, you have to tell no exemption. Once the gratuity limit comes to 0, that means lowest would be always 0. And the lowest is going to be exempt. So what would be the exemption in future? 0 exemption would be there. So whatever gratuity you will receive, it would going to tax full value. Once your exemption limit of 20 lakh has been comes to 0. Understood? So this is exactly the same thing which note number 4 try to explain, that if an individual received gratuity in earlier year, then the limit of 20 lakh will be reduced by the amount of gratuity exempted from tax in earlier year. So now you can see note number 3 and 4 is actually trying to explain you the same thing, the same provision they are trying to tell you, the same concept they are trying to make you understand, that this 20 lakh is aggregate. Whether you received from 2 employer, it would be 20 lakh. Whether you have received gratuity earlier from multiple employer, every time you claimed exemption, this 20 lakh is going to be reduced. Understood? Again, I would like to say that note number 3 and 4 are rare question example, rare cases. So just for your understanding, you should know it could be asked in one marks or in 2 marks. But the thing that question needs to be there in multiple year question should be there, or multiple employer. That, in my opinion, generally is not going to be asked in the examination, but you should know the provision. Okay. Anjum is saying, सर अगर हम एक कंपनी में काम करें और जॉब छोड़ देते हैं एंड दूसरी कंपनी में काम करते हैं तो दोनों कंपनी रिटायरमेंट पे ग्रेचुटी मिलेगी। अगेन अंजुम देखो, मैंने कहा था ना, हमें इस बात से कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता कि दोनों जगह से ग्रेचुटी मिलेगी, एक जगह से मिलेगी, हमें इनकम टैक्स में इस बात से कोई कंसर्न नहीं। ये कंसेप्ट है पेमेंट ऑफ ग्रेचुटी एक्ट 1972 में, कब मिलेगी, कैसे ग्रेचुटी मिलती है, कितनी मिलनी चाहिए, एटसेट्रा। सो हमें इससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता। अगर ग्रेचुटी मिलेगी तो कितनी टैक्सेबल एग्जेम्प्ट होगी, दिस प्रोविजन आई शुड नो एज एन इनकम टैक्स टीचर और एज अ student of income tax question if you need to solve that. So don't think about it, that is different case. So exemption under section 1010 is available under both regimes. So this gratuity exemption, pension exemption under both regime, whether you are under default or optional tax regime. Fees, bonus, commission, etc. if you receive, that's for reading purpose. Advance salary we have already discussed. Now the next compensation. First important compensation was pension. Second was gratuity. Now third is leave salary or leave encashment. So leave encashment, first of all, we have to understand what is the meaning of leave encashment. Now generally what happens, Aditya is saying, sir, if one company had terminated and after I joined, they may paid gratuity. Who had terminated company? Who had terminated company? So how does it matter, Aditya, if they are going to pay you gratuity? Calculate as per the provision. Either it would be case B or case C. It does not matter that gratuity received when you join the other organization or not. We would have the provision. Gratuity received 20 lakh, 1/2 or 15/26. Monthly salary would be there. Any year of service would be there. So you can apply the provision. You will find out the answer. How does it affect our provision? So what is the meaning of leave encashment calculation? Let me tell you, when you working in an organization, so that organization would provide you some casual leave or medical leave. How? Let me tell you with the help of an example. So if you are working in a multinational company or a big organization, so generally it happens that when you work, they provide you some leave, and that is called paid leaves. Suppose 2 days in a month. That may name medical leave, casual leave, whatever. So if you do not avail these leave in that month, suppose there was 2 days leave allowed. So if you will not come to the office in 2 working days, even you will get the full amount of salary. Your salary would not be deducted. So if you take the leave of 2 days, the full month salary needs to be paid. There would be no deduction from your salary. And suppose if you have not taken any leave in that month, you have not taken any leave in that month, then what will happen? You will get extra 2 days salary. Suppose if you have taken 1 day leave, so technically you will get extra 1 day salary of that month. So that is called leave encashment. As the name suggests, that if there is leave and you did not avail those leave, so you will get the extra payment of that for that leave, and that's called leave encashment. So suppose And let me tell you, these 2 days extra salary, in suppose in the next month you have claimed only 1 day leave, so extra 1 day salary, etc. These are not going to be paid monthly. So these extra leaves is going to be accumulated. You will not get it monthly. So suppose in the journey of your service in that organization, suppose you have worked for 20 years. Every month there was a concept of 2 days casual leave. So in that 20 years, we need to see how many days leave you have availed and how many days leave you did not avail. So you will get the amount, a lump sum amount at the time of retirement, etc. That's called leave encashment. So suppose for 20 years, total leave, total paid leaves earned by you, that means allowed to you, suppose it was 350 days. Out of these 350 days leave, you have availed 200 days leave. So that means you have taken 200 days leave. And the balance that is called unavailed leaves, which you did not avail, is 150 days leave. Now, my very simple question to all of you. The leave encashment amount we will receive at the time of retirement. If during service, taxable, as in case of gratuity. So that leave encashment, the leave encashment amount, suppose we receive 6 lakh. Can you tell me this 6 lakh should be for availed or it should be for unavailed? If the question is silent, the question says you have received 6 lakh rupees leave encashment and these 3 days information has been given. And suppose there is 1 mark MCQ and they ask, tell us for how many days this 6 lakh leave encashment must have been received by the employee, whether it's 350 or 200 or 150. It's a very common sense question and believe you understand the correct answer of all in this question. 150 unavailed, unavailed. Akhila is saying availed. What is this, Akhila? The leave you have availed. Why employer is going to pay for that? That is always for unavailed leaves. So the leaves unavailed, the leaves balance, the leaves you did not take, only in that case you will get the amount. So if the question is silent, you will understand automatically that if 150 days, 6 lakh rupees I am receiving, what that 150 days denote? What is the meaning of that 150 days? That these are my unavailed leaves. For what I am receiving the amount. Simple. Understood the meaning of leave encashment? If your parents are working some organization, your sister, brother is working in any organization, at the time of retirement, they will get amount of leave encashment. And what would be it for? It would be for those leave they did not take and work in that organization. Understood? So, very good. Now again, we are not concerned about how much leave availed, how much leave unavailed, etc. As an income tax, we just need to know one thing. If leave encashment received, how much do I need to tax or how much is going to be exempted? Okay, chalo, let's move to these provision. So this is the meaning as I have already explained to you. Again, if it is received during service, students, it's always going to be taxed. If it is received after services and if received by government employee, fully exempt. So the good news is, if you are a government employee and received commuted pension, full exempted. Gratuity, full exempted. Leave encashment, full exempted. By other employees, then we have to find out the lowest of these 4 points. So you can see A point, fully exempted in case of government employee. Now in case of other than government employee, we need to calculate these 4 amount, and out of these 4, the lowest is going to be exempted. The first one is always simple amount received, that would be given in the question. Second is the government fixed limit, that is 25 lakh. Third is also very simple now, 10 into average monthly salary. The AMS we have discussed in gratuity C case, this is same AMS would be given in the question, 10 multiplied by average monthly salary. Now, if you will think about it logically, how we find out AMS? Total 10-month salary divided by 10 is AMS. And if I multiply AMS into 10, what it will be? It would be again total 10-month salary. So this third point exactly is what? It's the total of last 10 months salary. Fine, AMS would be in question. You just need to multiply it. The fourth point is utmost important. It says leave earned in days less leave availed in days. So in that example, as I have told you that what figure I have taken? 350, okay, 200 and 150. So in that example, total leaves was 300, availed 200, unavailed 150. So now if I'll ask you, in your opinion, what should be the leave earned in days out of these 3 over here, logically? Correct, that would be 350. The total of leave earned should be over there is 350. This should be leave earned. Correct. What should be leave availed? Of course, 200. So what exactly we are finding out in this bracket? What we are trying to find out in this bracket? This is leave unavailed. So technically this formula suggests you to calculate unavailed leaves by total leave minus leave availed in days. Understood? But that is not that easy. It seems like this easy, but there is a, you can say, situation, special condition. That's why it will become little complicated. Leave availed, we need to reduce out of leave earned in days. Now, what is the special provision in this? Let me explain you. The provision says that leave earned, we cannot take leave earned as it is given in the question. The provision says the leave earned provision we need to take actual leave or 30 days per annum. Actual leave per annum or 30 days leave per annum, whichever is lower. So we cannot take directly whatever leave we have earned. So government has fixed a limit that we cannot take in leave earned days 30 days, more than 30 days per annum. So suppose in any organization you have worked for 20 years and leave was 35 days per annum. The employer provides you 35 days per annum. So we might think that we can take 700 over here because total leaves are 700. But the restriction makes this different. Actual leave per annum is 35 and as per specific provision is 30 per annum. So the lower would be 30 days. So leave earned cannot exceed 30 days per annum. So for 20 years, I cannot take it 700. I have to take it 600. So leave earned is having a special provision that you cannot consider leave earned more than 30 days for a complete year of service. This note number 1 is saying this: leave on will be maximum of 30 days for a complete year of service. Salary again, as per gratuity C case, average monthly salary means drawn by employer for 10 months. Understood? So this leave on is little, you can say, complicated or having a special provision. So you need to keep this in your mind, that if is in the question the number of days leave is 35, we should restrict it up to 30. Suppose if it is 25 days in a year, then 25 or 35, lower is 25. Then we can take 500 over it. So this leave on should need to be find out like this: actual leave or 30 days per annum. Now the leave availed concept. Leave availed is easy. It would be given in question, like in this example, it's 200. So you can put it over here 200 days. But again, there is a surprise for you. So this formula is very interesting. Leave availed, Sridhar is asking, is given in the question. It could be given in the question, or you might need to calculate it also. Let me show you how. It's just a simple mathematics. Income tax is not doing anything. It's just simple mathematics. So let me explain you this fourth point in detail. The fourth point was saying leave on minus leave availed. So leave on, we have seen that we have to see it should be actual leave per annum or 30 days per annum, whichever is lower. Accordingly, you will put leave on over here. Okay? Now leave avail, there would be two situations. Either leave avail would be given in the question. So if it has been given in the question, then you can put it leave avail over here. There is no restriction. And there could be a situation when leave avail not given. In that example, there was 300 leaves, total leaves. Avail was, I guess, 350 was there. And 200 leaves avail. So unavail was 150. So either in question leave avail would be given. So we can write it 200 over here like this. And suppose if I remove this, then in question total leave and unavail would be always there. This is universal rule. If leave avail is not given, then total leave and unavail would be given in the question. So if total actual leave has been given and actual unavail has been given, then can we find out the available leaves? Of course, yes, the difference. So if the question not given, then we can use this concept. It's a general knowledge, but I have make the formula also. If in the question not given, take it total actual leaves less unavail. So if you apply this formula, you will get avail leaves. That's what we are searching for. So it's general knowledge. I just make a formula to make you understand that you should not get confused. If it is given, write it down. Not given, then apply this total actual leave. Total actual leave less unavail. The balance would be your avail leave. You have to put it in the formula and you will get the amount. Understood? Sure. Back to the provision. Again, note number 3, note number 4 are same as per gratuity note we have gone through. That if you receiving leave encashment from two employer at same time, if you receive gratuity from in the same year by two employer, maximum limit of 20 lakh will remain the same jointly. In the same way, 25 lakh rupees limit would remain the same. Same point number 4, if you have received leave encashment in earlier year and got an exemption, then the amount of the exemption will reduce your limit whenever you will receive leave encashment later on. Same gratuity note number 3 and 4, exactly copy paste over here for leave encashment. Note number 5, if received by the family member after the death of employee, it will be exempted in their hands. Now there are 2 examples for your homework. And this is your break homework. When we will take a break after 20-25 minutes. In that break, you have to solve this example and this example. You can take the screenshot right now. So you need to solve these 2 examples, and in these 2 examples, you have to find the leave encashment, exempted leave encashment. Okay. If you want to be able to solve, then I will come and we will solve together. And the most important point in these 2 examples, let me give you a very less work out of these examples. Just solve that bracket, leave earn minus leave avail. Because if you are able to solve this bracket, leave earn minus leave avail, then other points are very simple. Like you can see, leave received, fixed limit is 25 lakh, AMS is 20,000, we can multiply it by 10, so third amount would be there. So there is nothing to do in 1, 2, and 3 point. So only try to solve this bracket, leave earn minus leave avail, in this example as well as in this example. So I just need the difference of leave earn minus leave avail when we will be back after the break. Leave earn minus leave avail, the difference of these 2, I need to know when we will resume after the break. So I believe you must have taken the screenshot of this point. Okay. Again, leave encashment exemption you will get irrespective of the regime, whether it's default tax regime or whether it's optional tax regime. Moving forward, Akhila is asking on query portal, what about Jen? What does that mean, Akhila? Chalo. So you might be thinking it's complicated, but let me tell you, if you go through once again in your mind, you will see in case of pension, there was only one provision to understand, 1/2 exemption, 1/3 exemption, and to calculate whole amount of commuted pension. You will solve it. In case of gratuity, A case is government exempted. B and C is having same provision in point number 1 and 2, gratuity received and the fixed limit. Only third point is different, and you just need to learn the formula. 1/2 into AMS into complete year of service, 15/26 into monthly service into year of service. If you remember these formulas, the value would be given in the question, you need to put it and you will get the answer. Okay. Then leave encashment. You might feel it's a complicated provision, but just think about it. There are only 4 points. 1, 2, and 3 are so simple. Only 4th number point is little complicated. And the bracket, if you are able to solve, you will be able to solve the question very easily. And I've explained you what do you need to take in leave earn and what do you need to take in leave avail. So just leave earn and leave avail days, if you're able to calculate, you would be able to calculate the exemption of leave encashment. Okay. I have prepared the diagram also for all these provisions, leave encashment, etc. So you can go through it and you can see, and I will upload them, of course. So once you will go through those diagram, calculation of pension, gratuity, leave encashment in short. So that would be really easy for all of you to revise the provision in one go. Now next is Provident Fund. Now what is Provident Fund concept? Let me explain you that first, so you would be able to understand the provision automatically. You can connect with the provision. So when you work in any organization, you get the salary till the time you retire. And of course, your family or you run your family with the help of that salary, etc. And everyone does saving also. Because after retirement, there would not be any salary. So how the life will continue? So for that purpose, for future, we all do savings. But government says, suppose somebody is not doing savings. He is actually spending all his salary. What he or she will do after the time of retirement. So whether you are doing saving or not, government say we will make you save mandatorily. If you are working in any organization, we make this sure that there should be a certain saving. So you will get that amount at the time of retirement. So that is the concept the government has made, the Provident Fund concept. How it works. So Provident Fund is nothing. It's a kind of a saving plan, which has been initiated by the government for your benefit. So at the time of retirement, whatever you will save monthly from your salary, which you have to do it. So that is mandatory. Employer will deduct a certain amount of salary and it will deposit that salary into your Provident Fund account. So how this works, this concept works. Suppose Mr. Ram is an employee in XYZ Limited. Understand this concept. So the provision would be, you will be able to understand logically that why we are doing this. So as I explained you the leave encashment concept, so you would be able why we are getting leave encashment. No? So that is not relevant for the purpose of examination maybe, but it is more important to make you understand the concept. Like the gratuity we understood, why we receive gratuity. Suppose in the question they will not ask why you receive gratuity, why you receive encashment. But once you understand what is the object of the provision what we are discussing, it would give you more clarity to understand the concept and the provisions. So that is why we are discussing the Provident Fund concept. So Mr. Ram is working in an organization XYZ Limited, and suppose his salary is 50,000 per month. Now, of course, government suppose that somebody, if receiving salary of 50,000, he must have saved this a certain amount of the salary for future. But if you're doing or not, that's your perspective. But what Provident Fund is going to do with this salary concept is like this. Now, the Provident Fund concept says that if in this organization, Provident Fund concept applicable, then out of this amount, 50,000 rupees, your employer will deduct, suppose 10%. That means 5,000 per month as contribution of employee to Provident Fund. So your salary is 50,000, but if Provident Fund provision applicable in this organization, and suppose in that case your employer is going to deduct 10%, that means 5,000 per month from your salary, and that is called contribution of employee to Provident Fund. So what he will do with this 5,000, this 5,000 is going to be deposit by your employer in your Provident Fund account. Suppose it's a kind of your bank account. But this is not controlled by you. This is controlled by government. So this 5,000 is going to be contributed by your employer, but it is not employer contribution. It's employee amount, which needs to be deposited by employer only. So it's deducted from your salary. It would be called employee contribution. Deposit by employer. So 5,000 suppose in your bank account added. Understood? So now this employee will receive 45,000 rupees salary. So technically automatic saving starts. And out of this 45,000, you want to save yourself or not, it's your choice. But automatically a saving procedure has been started. Understood? So you will receive 45,000. So a simple question I'm asking to all of you. If I'll ask you how much is going to be called as basic salary, for taxability purpose. Basic salary would be 45,000 or 50,000. How much do we need to consider in his basic salary? 45 or 50? Nikunj is saying 50,000, Vishakha is saying 50, Vijwal is saying 45, Sushmita is saying 50, Sridhar 50, Anjum 45, Shivji is 50, Akhila 45, Mehak 50, Tanisha 50. Anyone else? कोई रह गया क्या बच्चों? So this is the problem. This is the issue with all of us. When we see any question in our life, we just try to solve it. We just want to give the answer. No. First of all, you have to apply the provision. If you must have thought about the basic salary concept first, that what is the meaning of basic salary, and then try to solve the question, then I believe out of 100%, you would be able to solve correctly if you remember the provision. I have seen some students are saying 50,000, majorities are saying 50,000, but there are some students, those gave answer 45,000. Why? Because if the question relates to basic salary, do you think about the provision of basic salary, or did you think about the provision of basic salary first? The basic salary says whether it's due or received, higher is taxable. We have gone through in the last session. How much is due? The due is 50,000 in this example, because the amount you work for is for 50,000, received is 45. How does it matter that received is 45? Even if received is 0, basic salary would be 50,000 tax. Understood? So when the question is for basic salary, you need to apply the concept of basic salary first. So if you just random answer 50,000, that is not the correct process. So process is not correct in this case. Kindly apply the process properly. So because basic salary definition is due or received, whichever is higher, so due would be 50,000. Even if he does not receive 1 rupee, still it would be 50,000. Understood? So on this 50,000, out of this 50,000, 5,000 is going to be deposited in his Provident Fund account every month. So technically in a year, it would be 60,000. And suppose if he worked for 20 years, it would be 12 lakh rupees. And on every payment, he will get the interest also. And that interest would be accumulated. For first month, it would be 5,000 upon it. The second month, it would be upon 10,000. Suppose he received 4 lakh rupees interest. And students, we did not consider the increment in salary yet. Suppose after 1 year, his salary is now 70,000 per month. Then this 5,000 would be replaced by 7,000 per month. After 10 years, suppose his salary is 2 lakh rupees. Then that would be 20,000 per month. So if you apply the increment, in my opinion, this 16 lakh would be more than 40 lakh approximate at the time of retirement. It's just a simple hypothetical example. So when he will retire, he will get 40 lakh rupees. Understood? So he can run his life. Out of this small saving, he will generate a huge amount of 35 or 40 lakh rupees. Whatever, even if he's saving or not, the government will give this 40 lakh to him so he can survive after the retirement. So that is the concept behind it. But it's not end yet. The beauty of this provision is now. The government has made this provision that whatever amount employer will deduct to deposit in this provident fund, the employer at least should contribute the same amount by himself also. So that was employee contribution. But whatever amount employee contribution would be, employer also need to contribute. Now this would be his extra income. This 5,000 is not his extra income because that is already taxed in this 50,000. But employer contribution also required. So if this act is applicable, a certain amount of contribution will be from the salary of employee, but equal amount of contribution at least must be done by the employer. So we assume that employer is contributing 13% per month. We just assumed it, okay? So if the employer is contributing 13% per month, higher can be done. It cannot be less than the amount of contribution. So it would be 6,500 rupees per month. This is extra income. This 5,000 is already part of his salary. So technically now employer also contribute in his provident fund. So technically provident fund is like of your bank account. Your 5,000 would be deposited in it every month, and employer 6,500 rupees per month also going to be deposited in it every month. Understood? So this 6,500 rupees per month will become yearly 78,000. And if without increment, we assume that at the time of retirement, it would be 15,60,000 plus interest 4 or 5 lakh rupees. So you can see a very huge amount. This 30-40 lakh, this would be again almost 50-60 lakh he will receive at the time of retirement. So why I'm explaining it to you, because when we will go through with the provisions of taxability for provident fund, there are 4 concepts. One is employee contribution. We have to see what is going to be the treatment of employee contribution, which is in our example is 5,000 per month. That's why I've taken the separate value, so you not get confused. One would be employer contribution. So we need to understand what is going to be the treatment of employer contribution under salary head. Then interest on this employee and employer contribution. So these 3 points we need to understand: employee contribution, employer contribution, and interest. And the last is treatment at the time of repayment. When at the time of retirement, he will get that huge amount, 50-60 lakh rupees. What is going to be the treatment of that amount? Understood? So that's why we have gone through this employee-employer contribution concept. So now when we will talk about employee contribution, you would understand why it is taxable or not. If employer contribution, what exactly we are talking, what is the provision? So the basic behind the provision, the concept behind the provision, the story behind the provision needs to understand for these kind of provision. Okay, let me ask you a simple question without even discussing the concept. What is the power of discussing concept is that even without going through the taxability, if I'll ask you, you may be able to give me the answer. Is this 5,000 per month is the extra income of that employee? If the basic salary we are considering 50,000, then extra 5,000, is it income in the hands of employee or not? Aditya is saying, sir, 40 lakh can buy 2 BHK flat. Good. ये तो देखना पड़ेगा. Anjum is saying, sir, ये amount एक साथ, yes, retirement पर एक साथ मिलेगा. Very good. So this, of course, your answers are correct. This is not income because already included in 50,000. Is this extra income? Yes. Because this is extra you are getting, because employer is depositing in your bank account without deducting from your salary this amount. So this is your extra income. So when we'll talk about the taxability, this would come into the picture because this is extra income. And interest, yes, because interest is also an additional income that would come in the picture. At the time of repayment, what will happen? That is also we need to see what amount of income we can consider. The employee contribution amount, whatever you will receive at the time of repayment, the employee contribution 5,000, 5,000, 5,000. So the amount of repayment you will receive 50 or 60 lakh. in aggregate, employer, employee contribution, etc. Out of that contribution amount of employee will not be income. In 60 lakhs, suppose the question says 20 lakh is employee contribution. So we cannot tax it because it was the part of his per month salary. Yes, the remaining employer contribution and the interest could be taxable. So these provisions we are going to discuss in Provident Fund concept. Okay. So there are multiple Provident Fund. Public Provident Fund concept is there. Recognized Provident Fund concept is there. Unrecognized Provident Fund concept is there. Statutory Provident Fund, NPS, etc. also there. So now we are going with this Provident Fund concept. Provident Fund scheme. This is for your benefit at the time of retirement. So this is, you can read yourself, students. That will save our time. That's why we are discussing. Out of this whole concept, there would be employees' contribution, interest on employee contribution, employer's contribution, and interest on employer contribution. These four elements, and of course, repayment. Fine. Repayment would be the aggregate of all these four. If you are getting any repayment, that would be the aggregate of these four. The accumulated balance is paid to employee at the time of retirement, resignation. In case of death of employee, the same is paid to their legal heirs. These are the types of Provident Fund. Recognized Provident Fund. For employer-employee, generally RPF provisions are applicable. And URPF. So these are for salary topic. We are concerned for recognized Provident Fund provision and unrecognized Provident Fund provision. So these topic related to salary. The treatment is under the head salary. Statutory Provident Fund, Public Provident Fund, this is for your knowledge, no treatment under the head of salary, etc. So I have made a table in which we can go through with the provisions of these URPF, RPF, SPF, and PPF. URPF is for unrecognized, RPF is recognized. So these are two. The treatment fall in salary head. SPF is Statutory Provident Fund, PPF is Public Provident Fund. So the treatment is not under the head of salary, but there is some treatment under deduction head, under section 80C, etc. So not that important for the purpose of salary head. Under 80C, etc., you will go through with the SPF and PPF concept also. So if you will see, there was 4 contribution or interest in aggregate. First one was employee contribution, that 5,000 we were talking about. So what is the treatment of that 5,000 under the head of salary? There is no separate treatment because that 5,000 becomes the part of your basic salary. So you can see if that is a part of URPF, 80C deduction also not available. The name is unrecognized. So if you are unrecognized Provident Fund, no treatment in salary head, and even you cannot claim the deduction under section 80C. In case of RPF, no treatment of employee contribution under the head salary, but you can claim a deduction under section 80C if you are under optional tax regime. So this first point is more related to deduction part, because under salary head, there is no treatment needs to be done for employees' contribution. The treatment under the head salary is for employer's contribution. You can see in URPF, not taxable at the time of contribution. That means if you are working in an organization and if your employer maintains unrecognized Provident Fund, your contribution is depositing into unrecognized Provident Fund, then at the time of contribution, there is no tax treatment, no tax treatment. So we are talking about now that 6,500 rupees. So no treatment at the time of contribution. But if it is a RPF, recognized Provident Fund, then treatment is there. And it says up to 12% of salary is exempt and excess will be taxable. So this salary means again that gratuity C case salary. Gratuity C case HRA, मतलब basic salary, DA as per terms and percentage commission on sale. So 12% of that salary will be exempt and the balance amount is going to be taxed. How? Let me tell you. Suppose the contribution made by employer for full year is suppose 1 lakh. Clear? Now we need to find out in this question the salary, etc. The basic salary for the whole year was 5 lakh. DA as per term is suppose 6 lakh. Commission given 1 lakh. But this is per month commission. So if it is per month commission, we cannot consider it. So we can only consider in salary basic and DA. So basic is 5 lakh. This is 60,000, not 6 lakh, 60,000. So total is 5 lakh 60,000 and the provision says up to 12% of this. The 12% of 5 lakh 60,000 would be 67,200. This is exempt. So up to this contribution, if you have contributed up to 67,200, this is exempted, and if it is excess, so the excess is going to be taxed. So excess is 32,800 is taxed. So in the question, the amount of employer contribution will be given. The basic salary, DA terms, percentage commission would be there. You need to take the 12% of that. And if that 12% is less than the actual contribution, then the excess contribution is going to be taxed. Understood? No treatment in SPF and PPF because SPS, PPF does not have any treatment from the point of view of salary. So that was employee contribution treatment we have seen. Now the interest treatment. Interest on PF, whether it's on employer contribution or employee contribution. So that is my income, extra income. Again, if you are under URPF, no treatment of interest also. Matlab no treatment of employer contribution, no treatment under salary of interest. Under RPF, interest treatment is there. And it's very, very, very tricky also. Exempt up to 9.5% per annum. It's 9.5% per annum and any excess is taxable. Okay. Suppose, let me tell you. Suppose the interest on RPF is given in question for the full year is suppose 40,000. The salary as per gratuity CK, that means basic salary, DA terms, plus percentage commission on sale. Suppose the salary is given in question is 4 lakh rupees. Now in this question, you need to find out the taxable interest. Take your time, take your time. You can take the screenshot. So when we will come back, because I'm going to take a break, when we will come back, this would be a question. You need to tell me the answer, the taxable amount of interest. It's very simple. Okay. And that leave encashment provision I have asked you, just the difference between leave earn minus K, leave avail. So take your time. Somebody already gave the answer. Vishakha Goel is saying 20,000. Okay. Take your time, Vishakha. 2,000, sorry. So Vishakha, take your time. We will see the correct answer. And let me tell you, when I told you this is tricky, how it's that easy that you would be able to solve instantly. When I've told you that is very tricky, So this is not that simple. Take the screenshot, students, and we will discuss these points when I'll be back. So there would be a break. Sir, can we take a short break? Thank you. taken your tea, coffee, etc. And I believe you have solved the questions we are going to discuss right now. So there was a question of leave encashment and this interest question also. First of all, let's solve this interest question. Then we will see the leave encashment question you must have solved till now. So what is the taxable value should be in this question, students? I believe you must have tried it. So what should be the taxable interest based on this provision? What is your answer, students? 36,200 is saying Vishakha now. Akila is saying 38,000 is exception, 2,000 is taxable. Interest on PF, Nikunj is saying 2,000. Anyone else? $22,000 is by Sridhar. Any more answer? Let me tell you, 2,000 is wrong answer. Okay. So those students thinking that 2,000 is the correct answer, let me tell you, 2,000 is the wrong answer. Now, anyone else? Actually, you cannot solve this question. That's what I was trying to tell you all, that first of all, understand the problem and apply the provisions. Why you cannot solve this question? The information is missing. You cannot solve this question. Why? Do you understand why you cannot solve this question? The reason behind it, you are taking 9.5% of salary, but where it has been written? It is just saying 9.5% per annum. As in all cases, it has been written 12% of salary C case, or in case of HRA, or in case of gratuity, the percentage is based upon salary. But in A and B, the information is only says exempt up to 9.5% per annum. That's it. It is not upon salary. And you are trying to calculate this amount upon salary. That is the problem. In this question, the interest on RPF amount has been given, but at what rate you are receiving that interest, it has not been given in question. So until otherwise, the interest rate of RPF will be provided in the question. You cannot solve this kind of question. You cannot take 9.5% of this because it is not 9.5% of salary. It is the amount of interest you are earning on that RPF. From that interest, 9.5% is exempt. So until I will provide you the percentage of RPF interest rate, you cannot solve this anyhow. So suppose now in question it has been given that the interest on RPF rate is 11% and you are receiving 40,000. So both should be there. Amount of interest and rate of interest both. Then you are able to solve this question like this. 40,000 for 11% and up to 9.5% is exempted. So how much is taxable? If out of 11, 9.5% exempted, 1.5% only is going to be taxed. That means 40,000 divided by 11 into 1.5, that would be 5454. This would be your taxable interest. Understood? So this 40,000 equivalent to 11% and up to 9.5% exempt. Suppose if I have said that the interest rate is 9% in place of 11, if I'll say you that it is 9%, then nothing is going to be taxed because up to 9.5% interest if you are earning, there is nothing taxable. Understood? Good. Now the leave encashment provision concept, what we have discussed, in that there was two examples. So anyone try to solve it? Do you have any answer for this first example and second? So can you tell me what is the difference of leave earn minus leave avail in first example and also in second? So do anyone have the answer? It is easy. In comparison to that interest case, this is easy because we have the exact formula. We just need to put the value over it. Okay, Vishaka is saying 368. Mehak has calculated the value. Do not calculate the exemption amount, Mehak. I just need the difference of leave earn minus leave avail. Amit is saying 584. First example, Kamal is saying 376. Second, Amit is saying 300. Vishaka is saying 300. Isha is saying 600 in one case. Isha is saying 360. And for second is 300. Visual is saying 376. Harsh is saying for second is 300. Harsh, okay. The correct answer of first example is, I think it's 376. The difference of these two. How? Let me tell you. In case of leave earn, the question says he got 37 days leave every year. So leave earn says actual or 30, whichever is lower. So we will take 30 and the year of service is 32. So that means 32 into 30, 960 would be leave earn. Clear? Now in this question, leave avail not given. If you'll see in this question, leave avail not given. And if leave avail not given, then we will take the total leave. Total leave need to be considered on actual basis. Actual basis means 37 into 32. 1184. And less leave unavail, which has been given in question 600. So that would be 584. So my leave unavail would be 584. Leave avail would be 584. And if I'll reduce 584 from my total leave, that would be 376. Understood? We need to take 960 over here and we need to find out the leave avail from total leave less leave avail concept. You will get your leave avail. So when you will reduce it from leave earn, you will get your leave unavail. In the second example, you can see the leave earn is 25 days. So 25 or 30, whichever is lower is 25. 25 into 32, that would come 800. And the good news in this question, leave avail directly given. If the in question leave avail given, that will reduce your calculation. So this difference would be 300. Clear? Sure. Got it. Okay, so this provident fund concept we have discussed. Now the repayment concept. Again, the interest treatment, nothing in SPF and PPF. So treatment under salary is only under URPF and RPF. And you have seen in case of URPF, no treatment yet. The employee contribution, employer contribution and interest, no treatment in URPF yet, but the treatment of employer contribution is there and interest contribution in RPF. Now the last point is repayment of lump sum amount at the time of retirement. Now in case of RPF, whatever you will receive at the time of repayment, that is going to be 100% exempt under section 10(12). Why? Because in case of RPF, we have already taxed the employer contribution exceeding 12% at the time of contribution, interest exceeding 9.5%. So we have taxed it during service. When the interest accrued, we have taxed exceeding 9.5%. Employer contribution, we have taxed exceeding 12%. So employer contribution and interest already been taxed. So at the time of retirement, we cannot tax it again. So 100% contribution, whatever you are receiving, is exempt if that is from RPF. Why it is exempted? Because we have already seen the taxability treatment at the time of contribution and the treatment of interest. So when you will receive that contribution at lump sum at the time of retirement with interest, that is not going to be taxed again. So that is going to be exempt. But the taxability in case of URPF now. So in case of URPF, nothing was taxable at the time of contribution and interest. Because government says at the time of contribution and interest, we will not tax URPF at all. We will wait at the time of repayment. At the time of repayment, when in case of URPF, you will receive again the full value. The full value would be for 4 components. One would be employee contribution, what you will receive. One would be employer contribution, you will receive. One would be interest on employer contribution and interest on employee contribution. These 4 components you are going to receive at the time of repayment. Nothing is going to be taxed in case of RPF, but in case of URPF, employee contribution cannot be treated as your income. So no treatment. Employer contribution is going to be taxed. You can see that employees contribution interest on such repayment is taxable under income from other source. So whatever is interest on employee contribution, that is going to be taxed under income from other source in case of URP. Employee contribution, no treatment. Employer contribution and interest both. These 2 things are going to be taxed under salary head. So in case of URPF, employee contribution, no treatment. Interest on employee contribution is going to be taxed under income from other source. Only employer contribution and interest component on this contribution is going to be taxed full under salary at the time of retirement. Understood? Salary means as per gratuity C case. This is for your reading purpose, students. This exemption of section 1011 and 1012 would be applicable if contribution is not exceeding 2,50,000 or 5 lakh rupees if there is no employer contribution. So you can go through it just for reading purpose. This rule number 9D we will discuss in the last lecture of salary because it is very, very complicated. I believe in the whole salary topic, in this complete salary topic, if something is complicated, technically complicated, we can say that is rule number 9D, taxability of perquisites. So this we will discuss at the end of this class. Okay, with the example, etc. So please do not read it. If you read it, you will get confused. Skip this topic and wait till the end of the salary topic. Now again, this is provident fund provision. You can go through it. This is again NPS provision. If employer's contribution to NPS, this is also a kind of new pension scheme. It's a kind of a contribution fund, will form part of employee salary. So if employer is paying to your NPS account, that NPS account payment, again, it's a kind of a provident fund payment. Normal RPF exceeding 12% is taxable. But in case of NPS, it's 100% taxable in employee salary. An employee can claim the deduction under section 80 CCD that is going to be discussed in deduction topic. So this is just for reading purpose. This is salary part 1, what we have gone through. Now moving on to our salary part 2. But before that, let me ask you some MCQs. Topic we have discussed. On the basis of that topic, there are some simple MCQs I would like to ask you. So give me your answer. Which of the following is not treated as salary income? Out of these 4, which is not going to be treated as salary income? Foregoing of salary, part-time salary, advance against salary, or advance salary? Question number 1 Nikunj is saying C. Isha Kumar is saying C. Isha Singh is saying C. Gaurav is saying C. Mehak is saying C. Amit Ranjan is saying C. Harshpreet is saying C. Vishakha Goel is saying A. Sushmita is saying C. S.K. Inam is saying C. Sridhar C. Anjum C. Vijwal, Prateek, Akhil, Nidhi. All give me correct answer, and the correct answer is C, except Vishakha. Vishakha White's A. A is foregoing of salary. It is your income. It is application of income. Once you received, after that, if you transfer your salary to anyone, that would be your salary. Advance against salary is not your income. Okay, so the correct answer is option number C. Second one. For an employee in receipt of hostel expenditure allowance for his 3 children, the maximum annual allowance exemption under section 1014 is how much maximum allowance of hostel expenditure can exempt for an employee if he is having 3 children? The maximum amount of exemption. Prateek is saying D. Anyone else? Harshpreet Kaur is saying D. Sridhar is saying D. Vishakha is saying B. Isha B. Shivji Kumar is saying B. Vijwal is saying D. The correct answer is student B, because that is 300 rupees per month. 300 rupees per month for maximum 2 children. So if it is 300 rupees per month, that means 3600 for one. And you can claim maximum for 2 children. So that means 7200 would be the correct answer. So that would be option number B. Okay, sure. Mr. A is employed in ABC Transport as cabin driver. He's paid every month 15,000 per month in the whole of previous year 25-26 as allowance for meeting his personal expenditure in the course running the goods vehicle. So this is the case of transport allowance to transport employee. So in case of transport allowance to transport employee, the exemption is 70% of the allowance or 10,000 per month, whichever is lower. So if you will see in this example, 15,000 70%. 70% of 15,000 would be 10,500 rupees per month. And the fixed limit is 10,000 per month. So whichever is lower, 10,000 per month. And for a year, it would be option number B, 1,20,000 would be the exempted amount. Clear? Children education allowance received by an employee from his employer is 80 rupees per month per child for 3 child. Taxable education allowance would be, how much would be the taxable education allowance? What would be the correct answer? I am asking for the taxable value in this case. Sridhar is saying 960. Option A is Gaurav. Shivji is saying option A. Isha Kumar is saying, Amit is saying A. Akhila is saying A. Isha is saying 960. Gaurav is saying 200 rupees per child for 2 child. What is this answer, Gaurav? We are asking out of these 4, which is the correct answer. What should be the taxable value? The correct answer would be option A, because 3 children's each getting 80 rupees. So you can exempt maximum 2 child maximum 100 rupees per month for each child. So out of this 100 exemption, he will claim the full. This will claim the full. So this is going to be taxable for the year, and that would be 960. Next. Chandan, a handicapped employee, received 1500 rupees per month as transport allowance from his employer. His actual expenditure on transport is 1000 per month. The amount of transport allowance taxable. Always check in the question that do I need to find the exempted value or taxable? Accordingly, you should frame your answer. So what should be the correct answer of question number 5? C option, Nikunj is saying 6,000. Nikunj, before giving this answer, did you try to recall the provision of transport allowance in case of handicapped? Or you just gave your answer on the basis of information that 1500 per month minus 1500 into 12, 6,000? Try to recall the provision first. Then you would be able to solve the answer, Nikunj. So if you are writing down 3,200 rupees per month for handicapped, then how could you say answer is 6,000? Apply the provision, then you would be able to solve that question. I have told you nothing is going to be taxed in this case because the allowances is having a specific exemption like 100 rupees per month, 2,000 rupees, 3,200 rupees per month, etc. That is fixed exempted. The actual expenditures are irrelevant. These are just to make you confuse. There was no provision under handicapped allowance, under transport allowance to handicapped employee, which says actual expenditure need to be checked. Actual expenditure for official purposes for special allowances like daily allowance, uniform allowance, those 6 allowance we have gone through. But allowances having a specific amount of exemption like 3,200 rupees per month, like 800 rupees for underground allowance, like 300 rupees for hostel allowance, 100 rupees for children education allowance. These kind of exemption does not have anything to do with the actual expenditure. So if you are receiving 1500, the maximum exemption is 3,200 per month, but we can claim maximum 1500. So taxable value would be nil. Clear? So the other question belongs to gratuity, leave encashment, etc. So that we are not going to discuss today because once you need to revise the provision of gratuity, I will give you some question illustration. Then we will be able to try those MCQs. So we are going back to the provisions now. This is salary part 2. In part 1, we have gone through with the provision of introduction, etc., allowances, compensation, and still we are going through these provision. Like the contribution to Provident Fund provision we have discussed. Then NPS provision we have discussed. In the same way, there is a contribution made by central government in the previous year to Agniveer corpus. So if you are an Agniveer, in that case also, there is a contribution system like the Provident Fund in this scheme. So a certain amount would be deducted from your salary and a certain amount would be deposited by the government. The amount deposited by government is going to be the part of your taxable salary and you can claim a deduction under section 80 CCH. So it's more related like NPS. Like in NPS, if employer contribute, full amount is part your salary and you can claim deduction under section 80 CCD. In the same way, this Agniveer Corpus Fund, same way of like NPS, it works. Whatever amount the government is going to deposit in your account would be your income and you can claim a deduction later on under section 80 CCH. So again, you can go through with this provision similar to NPS provision. Now, profit in lieu of salary. There could be profit in lieu of salary, like there are some compensation cases. in which you are not going to retire. In pension, when you retire, you got pension. In case of gratuity, when you retire, you got gratuity. In leave encashment, also at time of retirement, you get that. But if suppose it's a premature retirement, before the retirement age, if it's a premature retirement, that could be of two types. One is called retrenchment. That means you have done something, so your employer is going to forcefully retire you from the organization before the actual retirement age. That's called retrenchment compensation. So retrenchment means forcefully retirement. And of course, for that, they need to pay you a compensation. Without paying compensation, they cannot retrench you from any organization again. It's a request. Please do not ask why they will remove any employee. What are the circumstances? Because again, as an income tax, we just need to know if there is retrenchment compensation. So what are the conditions why it is that employee has been retrenched? That does not make a sense. We just need to know if it has been retrenched, if there is retrenchment compensation, then how much amount we need to taxed or exempted. So there is two premature compensation. One is retrenchment, which is forcefully, and one is voluntarily retirement compensation. As the name suggests, in retrenchment, employer is going to remove you from the job and they are going to pay you a retrenchment compensation as per Industrial Dispute Act. How much is going to be taxed and exempted? We need to see that. And if you yourself voluntarily want to leave the job before the retirement age, if there is a VRS scheme, employer launches a VRS scheme that if any employee, eligible employee, wants to leave the organization voluntarily, we are ready to pay this much amount of compensation. So any of the employee, those are eligible employee, can take voluntarily retirement. So retrenchment is forcefully and voluntary is by yourself. In both cases, you will get a compensation. So if it is a retrenchment compensation, the treatment of taxability is different. If it is a voluntary retirement compensation, the treatment is different. So we are going to discuss both kind of compensation taxability. That's why name is profits in lieu of salary. In lieu means against. So you are leaving the job or you have been removed from the job, and against that you are getting some compensation. So that should be not profit technically, that's a kind of a compensation which you are receiving. It includes compensation on termination of the employment, that is called retrenchment. That is called termination, like on etc. First is retrenchment compensation we are going to discuss, and then there would be VRS, voluntarily retirement schemes. Visual, there could be government employee also. So if that is a government employee, of course, all the compensations are going to be exempted. Nothing is going to be taxable. So one by one, we will discuss both the cases. Retrenchment compensation. The retrenchment compensation means the compensation paid under Industrial Dispute Act 1947 or under any act, rule, notification, etc. It also includes compensation paid on transfer of employment, etc. as per Industrial Dispute Act 1947. So as an income tax, we just need to know how to tax the amount, whatever we are receiving at the time of retrenchment. And of course, there are some amount, the lowest is going to be exempted, the balance is going to be taxed. Compensation received at the time of retrenchment will be exempt minimum. As always, actual amount received would be there. 5 lakh is the notified amount in this category, and third is the formula. Amount as per section 25 Industrial Dispute Act 1947, and this suggests this formula we need to calculate for finding out the amount in third category. 15/26, it's like gratuity B case. Remember 15/26 monthly salary and year of service. So it's same almost 15/26, but the monthly salary now is average pay of last 3 months. So that was monthly salary of last month. You have to take the 3 months average monthly salary over here, and year of service will same. Example is here. Mr. X received retrenchment. So example, of course, it's for your homework. It's already solved over here. So the formula is almost like gratuity B case, 15/26, average pay of last 3 months and year of service. So there's a solution. You can see that. These notes are for your theoretical provision. You can go through it. Now the next is, and of course, this retrenchment also available for both the cases. Whether you are in a default tax regime or under optional tax regime, you can take the benefit under both regime. Next is voluntarily retirement receipt under section 1010C. Now the difference between retrenchment compensation and voluntarily we have discussed. Lump sum payment or otherwise received by an employee at the time of voluntary retirement would be taxable as profit in lieu of salary. However, it would be exempt under section 1010C subject to the following condition. Again, in VRS, we have to find out these 4 amounts, and the lowest is going to be exempted. Received by an employee of a public sector, private sector, local authority established by central, state government, etc. Minimum of following is going to be exempted. Actual amount received and 5 lakh. So you can see under retrenchment and VRS, the fixed limit is same. Now the third point is 3 multiplied by monthly salary, and monthly salary will take gratuity C case, basic DA terms, percentage commission on sale of last month only. The last month basic DA and commission on sale need to be taken, and complete year of service. So that would be an amount. And the last is salary last drawn, same basic DA, percentage commission and term. Balance month of service left from the date of retirement. So we can say the 4th point says the balance salary needs to be taken in point number 4. Suppose the retirement age is 60 years and an employee age 54 years wants to take VRS. So almost 6 year job left, and in month, if we consider it, it would be 72 months of service left. So you can see the point number 4 is saying last salary drawn, the last month of salary drawn. Suppose you opt for VRS in July. So we are talking about June salary. So whatever would be your June salary multiplied by 72 months, that would be technically point number 4 value. So the balance month would be given in the question, whatever it is. And the last month's salary you need to multiply with the balance month of salary. So technically we are talking about balance salary in point number 4. So actual amount 5 lakh, 3 into monthly salary of last month, complete year of service, and salary last drawn into balance month of service. So what is going to be a problem for a student when they are going through with the salary topic? The multiple provisions are there. But individually, you can learn gratuity, B case, C case, pension provision, leave encashment, retrenchment, retirement, provident fund. Individually, there is no topic which is complicated. But when you need to remember all these concepts, because you do not know in examination, they will ask voluntary retirement compensation provision, or retrenchment, or gratuity, or pension, or leave encashment, or HRA, or any other allowance, and perquisite yet to come. That is a problem to retain all the provision. That's why I have prepared chart. So if you go through with those chart, you will see that you can revise all the provision in one go. This charts are going to be uploaded soon on the portal. So that is going to help you a lot when you need to understand the provision. So you will find these kind of chart on the portal. So I have prepared chart for each and every provision, almost each and every provision. Your basic salary meaning, advanced salary means, area of salary means, bonus commission, allowances, perquisites, etc. I have tried to make chart for each and every provision. You can see the chart of that compensation part. So you can see the gratuity A, B, C case chart I have prepared, pension chart, leave encashment chart, retrenchment, VRS. These are allowances chart also I have prepared for you. So when a single chart will be in front of you, you can revise in this single page. All allowances and all compensation provisions are on one page. So that would be really easy for all of you to remember those provisions within 10 or 15 minutes. So these kind of chart I have prepared for salary, each provision for all perquisite, all allowances, even for basic provision. So that is going to help you a lot to learn all the provisions. Okay, so that would be on portal. You can find it out. Visual is saying thank you for your efforts, sir. Thank you so much, Visual. This is all for you. We all want all faculties, DOS, coordinators, institute. We all want that you should be the part of this fraternity as soon as possible. That's why we are doing all these efforts to all of you. So we are in this journey with all of you as a support system. You just need to read some books, syllabus, subjects. Just be confident, give your examination, and we are always there for you students as a divisionary classes, normal classes, etc. Fine. So going through with the provision, moving forward, these are some guidelines that who can go for that VRS scheme. So these are guidelines for reading purpose. For the purpose of income tax, we just need to know how to calculate the VRS exemption. Understood? These are guidelines. The employee should complete the 10 years of service or 40 years of age. So why I am discussing these guidelines? Because in theoretical also, they can ask that please explain the guidelines for VRS case. So you need to write it down in the examination also. So employee should be complete at least 10 years of service or 40 years of age. Only those employee can opt a VRS scheme. Where exemption for voluntarily retirement compensation section 1010C has been allowed in any assessment year, then no exemption thereunder shall be allowed in any other assessment year. So if any, like a gratuity, it is possible that you can claim exemption in 1 year, and from other organization you can also exempt your gratuity for the balance amount. But VRS is a lifetime benefit. Once you have claimed VRS in any organization, then even if you are working in another organization, you cannot claim the VRS. So please go through these guidelines. Again, this is available for both the regime, whether you are under default tax regime or under optional tax regime. Now we can say the last part of salaries here, and these are perquisites, and these are technically huge. I can see in my notes, 26 pages total notes are these, what we are discussing, and we are on 6th number page. So for next 20 pages, only perquisites provisions are there. There are perquisite and some deduction provisions are there. So you can understand that how many perquisites we need to learn. There are some perquisites are very simple, very easy to understand. And of course, there are some which is complicated. But again, I will say only 2 perquisites are lengthy. One is for rent-free house and one is car-free perquisite. Other than these two, other perquisites individually are very simple. But again, the problem is same. There are multiple perquisites. So we need to learn the provisions of all perquisites. As you can see in the picture, how many perquisites you can see in front of you. Gym membership, student loan, retirement plan, home services, etc., etc. So one by one, we will discuss all these perquisites. The difference between perquisite and allowance, as we have also discussed earlier, allowance are monetary amount. So if you are getting a house rent allowance, your employer is paying you 10,000 per month. Then, as I have told you, whether you reside in a flat, the rent of which is like 7,000 or 11,000 does not matter. Whether you are residing somewhere with your relative, etc., you are not paying any rent. So you can save the money. Employer is not going to take back that money, but that is going to be the part of your salary income as per the provisions. But in case of perquisite, there is no money involved. These are non-monetary. These are facilities. Suppose employer wants to provide you a house facility for your residence. So either they can go for HRA, in which they will pay the money, you will find the house yourself, you will live yourself, etc. But if they want to provide you the facility of house, so now they will not going to give you any money, but they will provide you a house. Company will say there is a flat or there is a house, you can go and live there and you do not need to pay anything. All the expenditure we will pay. Whether it is going to be company owned flat or it would be taken by company on rent. But as an employee, you do not need to pay anything. You can go and you can live there. If company wants to give you conveyance allowance or transport allowance, then you will get the money, and how you are going to spend it, that is all your choice. That is going to be taxed or exempted as per the provision. But if company provides you a cab, that our cab will come to your residence, you need to get into it and that cab will come to the office. And again, at the evening, they will drop you off. So they'll pick you by the company cab or drop. So that is called a facility. So in this, you will not get any amount, but you are getting the facility. So this is the difference between perquisite and allowances. And again, let me tell you, if there is this kind of facility that employer says, you come by a cab yourself, by Ola, Uber, etc., and we will reimburse the payment. You will send or show us the bill, you will submit the bill, and we will pay the amount of bill you submitted. What it should be, whether it's an allowance or a perquisite. I have told you this kind of example earlier also, but I want to see whether you have remembered it or not. So if your employer is going to pay on the basis of bill you submitted, then whether it is going to be included as an allowance or is it a perquisite? Please tell me what it is. Isha Kumar is saying allowance. Isha Singh is saying perquisite. Anyone else? Tanisha is saying allowance. Sridhar is saying allowance. It is not allowance, student. It is called reimbursement. And reimbursement is a part of perquisite. Because in that situation, the company is not paying you any monetary payment. You don't have the choice of expense or do not expense for out of this payment. You have to make payment and company is going to reimburse it. So all the reimbursements are perquisite definition cover the reimbursement thing. So if there is any reimbursement, that is also going to be the part of perquisite. The term perquisite indicates some extra benefit in addition to the amount that may be legally due by way of contract for service rendered. In modern times, salary package of employee normally includes monetary salary and perquisite like housing, car, etc. Perquisite may be provided in cash or in kind. Reimbursement also part of a perquisite. Now you will read this line, reimbursement of expense incurred in the official discharge of duty is not a perquisite. Technically, they want to explain you it is not a taxable perquisite. It is a perquisite, but it is not a taxable perquisite because you have incurred the expenditure for official duty. So taxable perquisite means when your personal expenditure met by employer in the form of non-monetary modes. So if there is any non-monetary facility which is not for your personal purpose, that is not a taxable perquisite. So we are discussing the concept of taxable perquisite in this case. So you can go through it. Kindly read this example also. Definition of perquisite. Perquisites are three types. Perquisite taxable in case of all employees. Tax-free perquisite in case of all employees. And there are certain perquisite, those are taxable only in hands of specified employees. So we need to know what is the meaning of specified employee, that we will cover later in this chapter. But there are three kinds of perquisite: taxable for all, exempted for all, and taxable only in case of specified employee. That means these kind of perquisite is not taxable if you are a non-specified employee. If you are a non-specified employee, then this category of perquisite is non-taxable for you. The taxable for all employees perquisite list has been given over here. We will discuss these points one by one. Okay. Everything has been included later in this chapter, one by one. All these traveling, interest-free, fees for concessional, rent-free house, provident fund, sweat equity shares, etc. Everything has been covered. Now, this is rule number 9D provision. As I've told you, we will discuss this provision at the end of the salary topic. This is connected to that provident fund provision. I have asked you that do not read it. So this is the second part of that part. Those both points are correlated. So we will discuss these points later on at the end of this salary topic. So you can see the complication. If you will go through it, you will see the complication part. So we will solve it with the help of an example, and you can see we'll discuss with the example later. Exemption in respect of payment for superannuation fund, that is for your homework, just for reading purpose. This is important. That is technical part, tax-free perquisite in all cases. The following perquisites are exempted from tax in the hands of all employee, whether you are a specified employee, whether you are non-specified employee. So for those perquisites, those are exempted in the hands of all employees. We do not need to learn any provision. We just need to read those facilities or perquisite. Those are exempted for all kind of employees. So if those kind of perquisite has been given in the question, we need not to do anything. We need to just write it down that these are exempted or non-taxable. Telephone, transport facility, perquisite allowed outside India by government. Remember, we have discussed a case where a central government employees work outside India, who is a citizen of India. He is getting basic salary over there, allowances outside India, and perquisite outside India. And I've told you that all allowances and perquisites are exempt for this kind of employee. Only basic salary is taxable. So third point is talking about that case. Employer's contribution to staff group insurance scheme, that is exempted perquisite. Annual premium by employer on personal accident policy, that is exempted. Refreshment in working hours to all employees in office premises is exempted. Subsidized lunch, refreshment means coffee, tea, etc. So that is 100% exempt, non-taxable. But if meal has been provided, then for per meal up to 50 rupees exemption is there. If the meal has been provided in office premises during working hours, and suppose the meal cost is 110 rupees, then out of 110 rupees, 50 rupees exempted, 60 is going to be taxable. That is also going to be discussed later in a detailed format in this chapter. Recreational activities, etc., like club facilities, etc., is exempted. Also going to discuss later in this chapter. Any training expenditure for employee, that is for official purpose, so non-taxable, full exempted. Payable by employer to a RPF or to an approved superannuation fund, then up to 12% exempted, balance is taxable. Leave travel concession, going to discuss later in detail in this topic. Medical facilities. Some medical facilities are non-taxable. The details will be discussed later in this chapter. Rent-free official residence. This is going to be discussed in rent-free house provision later. So almost all the provision except point number 1, I guess these are also included in the later provision in detail also. Conveyance facility, that is also going to be discussed later. So now we will discuss all these perquisites. Those are exempted fully or partly, one by one. The first one is leave travel concession. The leave travel concession is the perquisite we are going to discuss. And one concept what we have gone through was leave encashment. Leave encashment was different with leave travel concession. So do not mix leave travel concession with leave encashment. So leave encashment was when you have some casual leave or medical leave and that accumulated unavailed leave out of those casual or medical leave, you can be encashed at the time of retirement. So that is leave encashment. But this is leave travel concession in India. So if you are working in any organization and your employer wants to provide you some leave travel concession, employer asks you that you can go and visit any part of India and the expenditure on travel only. The word is leave travel concession. The expenditure you will made on travel only will be reimbursed by your employer. Only the traveling expenditure of yourself and family is going to be reimbursed by the employer. That is called leave travel concession. That's why in India it's been written. It may be possible in that some organization you will get the travel concession benefit also for outside India. Your employer can provide it. But if the leave travel concession benefit has been provided outside India, that is going to be fully taxable. If your employer pays your travel concession outside India, and suppose the amount he has paid is 1,80,000, then full amount is going to be taxed. This exemption can be availed only if the leave travel concession has been availed within India. So the concept says LTC received by employee for himself or his family from his employer for proceeding to any place in India. So remember, if outside India, then what will happen? 100% amount of travel concession is taxable. So if you got any leave travel concession within India, any place within India, either on leave or after retirement or after termination, is exempt from tax as per rule number 2B, available to citizen as well as non-citizen. So the exemption would be as per rule number 2B. This exemption is available only if employee shift out of section 115 BCA 1A. That means this exemption is only for optional tax region. Okay. Now let me give you homework. Just wait a second. So I believe you actually completed your previous homework. For today's class, because we have already gone through with multiple provision today, so I am not going to discuss this leave travel concession today because it would be really complicated for all of you to understand, because already we have gone through like leave encashment, gratuity provision, retrenchment, provident fund, and VRS concept. So just leave this topic for the next class. But you need to write it down your homework for today's class. We have discussed illustration number 1 I have given you in the last class, and I guess 1, 2, and 3. Till illustration number 3. Now the next homework is for illustration number 4. This is for gratuity. Today is 5th of May. This is your homework. Then illustration, after illustration 4, you need to try Illustration number 5. Do I need to write it down for all of you, or you are already writing it? So your homework is illustration number 4, illustration number 5, then illustration number 6, illustration number after 6, you have to solve illustration number 7, that is for Provident Fund. This is for gratuity, I guess. This is for leave encashment. This is for Provident Fund. This is also for Provident Fund. Illustration number 8. Illustration number 9. Voluntary retirement. These are the illustration. Let me see if there is any test knowledge question you can try. I have given you, I guess, illustration of test knowledge question number 1 in the last class. Okay. Okay, no test knowledge question, only illustration you have to try 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These illustrations are for your next class. Okay, now let me see if there is any query. So if you have any query, student, you can ask, else we will start a small story and then we'll close our session. Visual wants to listen the story, but there is some. Sridhar is saying, sir, after the retirement of government company employees should exempt perquisite of travel concession. No, listen, Sridhar, what would be the treatment of this travel concession that we have not yet discussed? We will discuss the provision in detail in the next session. So please do not ask any question regarding the leave travel concession provision that we are going to discuss in the next class, because we already gone through with multiple provision today. And I believe at a certain point of time, when we have gone through with these kind of provision today, you might not be able to understand more complicated provision at the same time. So we will discuss it in the next class. Anything else, student, you want to ask? Aditya asking, sir, how employee get to BHK flat? What does that mean? How employee get to BHK flat? What is this question, Aditya? I'm not getting it. How? Okay. Mr. S.K. Nam is saying, how to calculate average salary of 10 months in case of leave encashment? Generally, average monthly salary would be given in the question, S.K. Nam. Okay. If it is not given, then we have to calculate the preceding 10 months salary from the date of retirement. So the information of last 10 months salary would be given in the question. So you have to calculate preceding 10 months salary, which includes basic salary, DA as per terms of employment, and percentage commission on sale from the date of retirement preceding 10 months salary. And the aggregate of these 10 months salary need to be divided by 10 to find out the 10 months average salary. Sir, what should I get case scenario MCQ? Where should I get case scenario MCQ? So on Institute portal, there is a MTP, RTP, and 20, I guess 30 case scenario based questions are there. So you can go on the Institute site. You will find it out, the MTP, RTP, and case scenario based question. So from there you can find it out. Any more query, students? चलो स्टोरी स्टार्ट करते हैं फटाफट, एंड कोई क्वेरी है तो आप लोग भेज दो. वी विल डिस्कस इट बिफोर क्लोजिंग ऑफ द सेशन. द स्टोरी हिंदी में ऑफ कोर्स एज यूजुअल, एंड बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग सी स्टोरी है. सो व्हाट हैपेंड, एक जगह थी, कॉलोनी थी, जहां बहुत सारे फ्रॉग्स, मेढक रहते थे. एंड उस कॉलोनी में जब वाटर क्राइसिस होने लगा, तो पूरी कॉलोनी शिफ्ट हुई उस जगह से दूसरे वाटर रिसोर्सेस के लिए, पूरी कॉलोनी के फ्रॉग सारे जाने लगे। जब वो रास्ते से जा रहे थे तो एक बहुत बड़ा रास्ते में गड्ढा था, उसमें दो फ्रॉग नीचे गिर गए गलती से। हम दोनों नीचे गिर गए तो वो ट्राई करने लगे ऊपर आने के लिए उस गड्ढे से, एंड बाकी जो सारे फ्रॉग्स थे ऊपर से वो बचाने के लिए उन्हें चिल्लाने लगे, उनको इनकरेज कर रहे थे, ट्राई करो ऊपर आओ, ट्राई करो ऊपर आओ, एंड दे बोथ फ्रॉग्स ट्राइंग वेरी हार्ड। बट हुआ क्या, थोड़ी देर बाद जो ऊपर वाले फ्रॉग्स थे उन्हें लगने लगा कि ये बाहर नहीं आ पाएंगे, और उनमें से एक फ्रॉग था दोनों में से जो ट्राई कर रहा था, वो थक कर गिर गया एंड उसकी डेथ हो गई। बट जो ऊपर वाले फ्रॉक्स थे उन्हें ये भी लगा कि अब दूसरा भी नहीं बचेगा, एंड दे स्टार्ट क्राइंग, एंड वो बहुत वहां पर हल्ला होने लगा, एंड उन्हें लगा कि ये बाहर नहीं आ सकता, दूसरा भी नहीं आ पाएगा जब पहला नहीं आ पाया तो। एंड काफी टाइम बाद उन्होंने सोचा कि इसे यहाँ छोड़ जाते हैं, तो वहां आपस में लड़ाई शुरू हो गई, कुछ कह रहे थे नहीं हमें ट्राई करना चाहिए। बट जो नीचे वाला फ्रॉक था, जो दूसरा फ्रॉक नीचे रह गया था, वो ट्राई करता रहा करता रहा करता रहा और अल्टीमेटली ऊपर आ गया। जब वो ऊपर आ गया तो सब लोगों को बहुत सरप्राइजिंग लगा कि ये तो बहुत डिफिकल्ट काम था, मतलब इम्पॉसिबल था इतने गहरे गड्ढे में से फ्रॉग का बाहर जंप लेकर आना। बट वो दूसरा वाला बाहर आ गया। तो सब लोग उसे पूछने लगे कि हाउ इट हैपेंस, ऐसा कैसे हुआ, कैसे कर लिया। तो जो उस फ्रॉग जो ऊपर आया था उसका जो दोस्त था, उसने बाकी सबको बताया कि जो फ्रॉग जो ऊपर आया है ये डेफ है, ये सुन नहीं सकता। एंड दैट्स व्हाई व्हाट एग्जैक्टली हैपेंड इन दैट सिनेरियो, जब दोनों फ्रॉग ट्राई कर रहे थे तो जो डेफ नहीं था, जो सुन सकता था, थोड़ी देर बाद ऊपर उन्होंने बात करना शुरू कर दी कि बाहर आना इम्पॉसिबल है, आ ही नहीं सकते यहां से, ये इतना गहरा है। तो सब लोगों ने ये बात शुरू करी। तो वो डिमोरलाइज हो गया, उसे लगा अरे ये तो करना पॉसिबल ही नहीं है, और उसमें उसने एफर्ट करना कम कर दिया, एंड उस चीज से उसकी डेथ हो गई बिकॉज उसने ट्राई करना बंद कर दिया। जो फ्रॉग डेफ था उसे तो सुना ही नहीं दे रहा कि ऊपर वाले क्या करे, तो उसे लगा कि वो मेरे को इनकरेज कर रहे हैं, जबकि ऊपर वाले चल रहे थे कि नहीं बाहर आ पाओगे, तुम्हें छोड़ के चले जाते हैं। बट ही वॉज थिंकिंग कि वो बाकी सारे उसे एनकरेज कर रहे हैं, एंड बिकॉज वो सुन नहीं पाया तो वो डिमोरलाइज नहीं है, उसे लगा उसे मोटिवेट कर रहे हैं, तो वो जंप करके बाहर आ गया। इन द सेम वे, इन योर जर्नी ऑफ बिकमिंग अ सीए, ऐसे बहुत सारे रिलेटिव्स होंगे, दोस्त होंगे, कोई भी ऐसे लोग होंगे जो आपको कभी शायद ये बोलेंगे कि आपसे नहीं होगा, जो शायद आपके एक रिजल्ट के बाद आपको जज करना शुरू कर देंगे कि सी ये बहुत डिफिकल्ट होता है, तुम नहीं कर पाओगे, उससे नहीं हो पाया तो तुमसे भी नहीं हो पाएगा, नॉट पॉसिबल, नहीं होगा। तो उससे हम क्या फील करते हैं, डीमोटिवेट। बस वही नहीं करना है। ट्राई टू बी डेफ फॉर दोज काइंड ऑफ पीपल जो आपसे नेगेटिव बातें करते हैं। ट्राई टू बी डेफ, उनको सुनना छोड़ दो, अपने एम पे फोकस रखो कि हमें ये करना है, वी विल डू इट, एंड लेट मी टेल यू, यू विल डू इट। You will be CA Aditya one day, you will be CA ईशा कन्वर one day, you will be CA SK नाम, CA जितने भी लोग आप हो उन सबके नाम के आगे CA लगेगा, CA विजुअल, CA अशोक, CA श्रीधर, CA ईशा सिंह, वॉट एवर इट इज। बट अपना फोकस मत लूज करना। बाकी लोग डेफिनेटली आपको बोलेंगे कि आपसे नहीं हो सकता, हो ही नहीं सकता, तो जस्ट लीव इट, जस्ट लीव दोज काइंड ऑफ पीपल, डू नॉट focus on them, अपने एम पे टारगेट रखो, एंड इफ यू विल टारगेट योर एम यू विल बी अ सीए later or soon. So that was the moral of the story, that you have to ignore people's like a death. Okay. Isha Kunwar is saying sir your stories are actually beautiful, this is one way is very relatable. Yes of course, पढ़ाने से ज्यादा मुझे डिफिकल्टी होती है स्टोरी ढूंढने में, कि उतनी छोटे टाइम में 5 मिनट में आपको ऐसी स्टोरी सुनाई जाए जो आपको मोटिवेट कर दे। तो मेरे लिए ज्यादा टेंशन होती है स्टोरीज को सर्च करना, मैं ढूंढता रहता हूँ, एंड इफ यू कैन रिलेट, इफ इवन वन स्टूडेंट कैन मोटिवेटेड with these kind of stories, that would be enough for me. So if there is any query student, you can ask, else we are going to close the session. I see there is no query left. Sridhar is saying thank you, you're welcome. So Ashok sir, can we close the session? Yes sir. Oh, thank you.